Okay, so today I saw a couple of great movies. Scrolling through the movies, it was late at night. Actually, one of them was referred to me by my mom. Had to check it out. So today saw City of God and Forced to Fight. Let's start off with City of God because that was a totally terrific movie. Then they started off with these little black kids running through the streets chasing after this chicken with guns. They're frying it up, they're cooking it, and they're chasing this thing with guns. That really caught me off guard. Why would you chase the chicken with guns? They were shooting at it. It was absolutely crazy. They start off, they have the whole announcer deal. It's on subtitles, which I really like a subtitle movie. I don't know, it might just be me. Got handed to a subtitle movie. And, what this story is about, apparently, is a story of this kid that wants to be a photographer and how he got to this point. In the beginning of the movie, they show him, he's about to take a picture of this little warlord named Little Z, or Little Z. Little Z. Can't exactly remember right now. Doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that this movie was absolutely bonkers. They start you back to the childhood, where, things are just popping off. Not a lot of crazy things have happened quite yet, but you start to see the beginning of Little Z. I think at the beginning his name was Little Dice, and off the jump, this kid was a total psychopath, right? I mean, as they're going forward through time, he starts popping up more and more until eventually you see this kid is the warlord of the slums. Okay, he in one day goes through, kills all his enemies. I mean, who else does that in one day? Goes through city after city in the slums, killing all their enemies. It's not something I would do. I don't have the balls to do that. Totally bonkers. But Lil Zay had a friend, who was kind of like the opposite side of the coin, equally as crazy, but he was like the mediator, the kind of guy that took it down a notch. Because Lil Zay, he was really shoot first, ask questions later, or not really even ask questions later. Shoot first, then shoot again later. But Benny, toned it down for him. He kept Lil Zay from going berserk and just killing everybody in the slums. But, of course, Benny dies, and Little Zay loses his mind. The slums turn into a whole war zone, and then that's when the story starts to, come full circle. You start to have little kids start to do exactly what Little Zay was doing, and, the story ends near where it began, and you got to see exactly where this newspaper boy, this photographer, he wants to be a photographer. You get to see exactly how he got where he is, how he survived, and how Little Zay and Benny and all these other kids from his childhood made it to their adulthood. I think they made it to like their 20s before they all got annihilated. And the fact that this was based off a true story was totally phenomenal. I loved that, it was a nice little true story that you got to see a day in the slums. But next, out of 5, of course, had to give that a 4. Next, you had Forced to Fight. I don't know where I find these movies. I don't know why I make myself watch them. But Forced to Fight was totally ridiculous. You start off with some beginning scene. I don't even know what this beginning scene was about. By the way, I have no idea who any of the actors were in this movie. Regardless, let's move on. Now, these two kids are supposed to be brothers, blood brothers, and they were in America since their childhood, according to this little beginning flash scene. Why, when they grow up, is the bigger brother Australian? Where'd the Australian accent come from? But I think they live in like New York or something, maybe Brooklyn. I don't know, But the where'd the Australian accent come from? I couldn't get over that the entire movie. That totally bugged me. I mean, I did try and push past it until they started just coming at me with wave after wave of just bananas and coconuts. So the fight scenes in this forced to fight movie were really laughable. I think they got 9-10 dudes out of the gym and said, "Hey, we'll give you $20 if you put on some shorts and have a fake fight scene against our star actor here." That's what it felt like to me. That's what it felt like watching this movie. I mean, some of the pro fighters looked like they had beer bellies, and none of them were at all muscular. I was like, where are the fighters? Where are the fighters? This is like Bob and Joe from the pub coming down to fight for $20 against this Australian buff guy. So that was a little ridiculous. The scars, whoever did the makeup for this movie, boo. Okay, the dude was getting stomped out in several scenes on one side of his face, and then all they did to show the scars later on was a little band-aid right here, maybe a couple scars, just a couple scars. Whereas this side of his face, where the dude was getting stomped out and punched and everything, and there was just blood everywhere, there was just nothing there. That bothered me. Okay. Oh gosh, the crowd in these fights, they had the same fighting space in almost all the fights in this movie, but the crowd, it was literally like, yeah. I couldn't have asked for a more enthusiastic crowd. Come on, that was a little ridiculous. Oh gosh, and the Australian dude's wife. What? I mean, it's like she shouldn't have even been there. Like, of course the dude was getting a little frustrated. He had to throw some fights. He had to get beat up a little bit so more fighters would come his way, because he started winning, but he had to throw the fights to get the books even, whatever. So whenever he lost the fight, whenever he lost the fight, you knew the family was going to get it. He would yell at the mom. He would yell at the kid. He would yell at his little brother, who, by the way, is the main plot device in this movie. The little brother skips out with some of the money from the fight organizer, and the little brother owes 72 grand, some humongous number, because that's how much money he had been taking. So that's the whole reason the Australian Big Brother is fighting in the first place. It was just ridiculous. I mean, it was pretty funny though, taking a rage out on the family. The little kid was like, "Oh, I don't even know what the kid was saying. I can't even remember what the kid was saying." But the dad was like, "Oh yeah, no wonder the kids at school wanna beat you up, you little crybaby." I was like, dang. Oh man, yelling at the kid. Oh man. And the little brother does a total 180, turns from a irresponsible freak into a loving uncle, which was pretty nice. But this movie, Forced to Fight, before I keep going on about it, I'm gonna have to give this a 1.5 out of 5. I was gonna give it a 1, but I gave it a 0.5 because it gave me a good laugh. That's about it. Thanks.